All right, we are now live once again here in the Self Achievement Network. Hello, everyone. My name is Dominic. I am here today with the marketing god, Sharif Yusuf. He's had every title in the world.
Yeah, you've been very generous with me.
Yeah. Well, anyway, thank you, Sharif, again for joining me here. And we have some special announcements that we're going to be talking about. This is uh, the first of three in a series um, of what we're calling topic discussions about why it's important. This is our podcast, why it's important. And for the next 3 Fridays in a row, we'll be doing topic discussions that are going to be um, um, leading us to a workshop. And the workshop is that Sharif is going to teach is about how to do your own assessment, your own small business assessment. And so the next 3 weeks, the topic discussions are going to be all about that. Those three items. I mean, those how to start. Well, assessing. It's why it's important to assess your. How's it go?
Marketing efforts.
Yeah, yeah. The second one is
Yeah. The second one is
adjusting the
let me
plan.
bring it up. Like revisiting the plan, I believe,
Yeah.
or visiting
Why
your
it's important.
your digital strategy, and then the third one is uh, doing the plan or um, replanning.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll post the actual titles in the thread, and so that everybody is aware. So, but again, it's the idea is that we're going to have these three topics of discussion that will lead us to that workshop that is going to be on the 19th of June.
19th of June at 1 p.m. Same time, right?
Yes,
Central Standard Time, USA, or Eastern, 2 p.m. Eastern, or
Eastern Standard
Toronto
Time.
time. Toronto time. Yeah. So
Yeah.
thank you all for joining us. Thank you again, Sharif. So we're going to be talking about this, why it's important to continuously assess your marketing efforts, and that may seem like a no-brainer, but it is important. And there's many benefits out of doing that, and so that's going to be our maybe 15 to 20-minute max topic discussion today, and
Yes.
then yeah. So anyway, um,
So
yeah, go ahead. Why is it important for people in their small
small
business to
businesses and professionals. Yeah. It's marketing is all about getting our messages out to as many potential customers as possible. But in order to do that, there are a lot of activities that we need to take care of to ensure getting that right message to the right customer at the right time. I like to say these three rights. So uh, one of the things, for example, is to and one of the main activities is your marketing plan. Obviously, any marketing should start with a plan. And you put a plan in place and then start implementing it. Okay, it involves spending some funds on social media, on advertising, on preparing some digital content and marketing material, and telemarketing sometimes, and so on. But however, you when you do that, sometimes you don't reach your target customers, and you kind of feel okay. You get that well, why am I not getting any sales? Why am I not getting any more leads or something like that?
hmm
But the reality is that you're not getting these people or these leads because you're not reaching the target customers. So
hmm
what we're talking about here is that there was something wrong with the planning. And this is why it is important to assess your marketing efforts at all times. If you're a smaller business or a professional, so uh, don't let it go beyond 3 months. If you're bigger than that, if you're a small business and maybe about 10, 15, 20 employees or something, don't get it go beyond 3 to 6 months as well. But there has to be an assessment. There has to be Where am I now? What did I do? Is it going well? Is it not going well? What is going well? You know, if something is going well, okay, so let's keep on doing that and building on it. If something is not going well, then we have to stop and then reassess and then go back to the drawing board and find um, some alternative solutions in order to address that right message to the right customer at the right time.
Hmm.
Yeah,
The three rights.
the three rights.
If you don't get the three rights right, it's all wrong.
Exactly. And you imagine that you've done something and you've prepared a promotion or you've prepared a social media campaign or something, and you're running it, and 6 months down the road results are not coming. Results are, or maybe results are not satisfactory enough. Okay, but wait a minute, you waited for 6 months to find out that the results are not good. That's not good. You shouldn't be waiting for 6 months, right? You need to put something in place. You need to put some milestones in order to assess where you are, how good your marketing efforts are.
Hmm.
Are they rendering some results? Are they not? And then you stop there and then see where you need to be. And there are usually 3 or 4 steps that people need to take in order to do that, and especially in this time, when with people staying home most of the time and working remotely and so on, there are a number of steps that need to be taken. So we like to simplify them as stop or pause, then focus and think, and then reassess, and then take an action, because these are, 4 very basic steps that people can do, and everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. Okay, so I got to stop here and then see what is happening, what is going wrong, and then I will find out, based on some of the measurements that I have, that let's say, for example, that um, the competitor is reacting quickly, or I'm not reaching the right people. So in order to rectify that, you stop there and then you see what's happening, and then you go back and plan differently. Maybe you're targeting somebody, or you're targeting a segment that is not the right segment. You remember we spoke before on a couple of other sessions about the targeting and positioning and segmenting and so on. So maybe this is one thing that needs to be rectified or needs to be changed.
Hmm.
But and in doing that, we have to put some measurements in place. And some of the very common measurements that you can assess against are the ROI, or the return on investment. And in some cases they call it the ROMI, return on marketing investment. And then there's the cost per sale, and then there's the conversion rate. So these are like 3 of the very common measurements, or KPIs, if everybody's familiar with the term KPIs, key performance indicators, that you need
Right.
to look at in order to see how your activities are going, right?
Yeah, and what I like what you're saying. I
We've
mean,
been talking
it's
for
a
a long time. Have you have
continuous.
any questions?
Right now, I'm just thinking out, out loud here. I mean, you're talking about all these different things that are important, especially for established business, brick and mortars. People that are serious about their marketing efforts. If it's not done, and on a continuous basis, I think this is probably, in my experience, and I mean, I certainly have had my share of businesses and didn't do them the way that you're talking about them. And I know that if I had implemented the things that you're talking about and had watched my marketing efforts and looked at my KPIs, at least, I mean, I didn't have the skills to do it, was the bottom line. And so, I mean, I like the idea that, there are a certain number of people out there that will hire people just like you to do that work for them, because it's an overwhelming thing. And then there are people that have some skill that maybe want to hone those skills and learn how to do the process on their own, which is why we decided to come up with the idea of teaching people how to do their own assessment. So, I mean, it's important because it's going to affect just about every aspect of your business, right? From A to Z.
And it all and exactly, and it all starts with, like I said, if you put a plan there, you have to have a plan, and with the plan obviously comes some milestones or some areas for measurement, which is normal. But after 3 months, I'm going to check my ROI. After 3 months, I'm gonna look at my cost per sale, my conversion rate. Okay, so in 3 months I want to reach, let's say, conversion rate of, I don't know, five sales per week, or 5 sales per month, or 10 leads per day, whatever the
Right.
conversion rate is, and then I don't reach them. So if I don't reach them, then I'm doing something fundamentally wrong, which this requires that. Okay, so yeah, maybe there's something wrong with the rate. Maybe it's too high. Maybe you set yourself too high expectations, and that's why it takes us back to another thing, which is setting the objectives. Remember the old SMART objective: set, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time framed objectives. So maybe
Mhm.
they were too high. Maybe they were too high. Another thing is also the return on investment. So how much money am I spending on my marketing? X dollars that should bring me X times 10%, or 20%, or 100%. I mean,
Mm.
whatever it is, but you need to put a measurement in place, and it also has to be um, time framed as well, and achievable, because you also don't want to put it so high for yourself and for your people, so that you don't reach it. So planning, measurements, and KPIs, and then you review every 3 months, every 6 months, whatever the time frame is that you put yourself. But you don't wait for 6 or 8 months and then you say, okay, so the campaign is not bringing any results. That's not good, because that's
Right.
too late, and you would have spent a lot of money, and results are not coming in, right?
Right. So, okay. So let's just say that somebody doesn't assess often enough. We'll just leave it at that instead of putting a number on it, or a month, or a time frame, or whatever. What are some of the potential things that can happen if they don't do that?
Well, the first thing that would happen is that they won't get the sales that they're looking for, because everybody's out there for the sales and for increasing their revenue, and increasing their market share, and so on. So the first thing that would happen, if you don't hit these numbers, first of all, if you don't know that you're hitting the numbers, that's a big thing. But if you're checking and you know that you're not hitting the numbers, that's the second aspect of things. So if you're not hitting the numbers, and that's a big thing too. It's so how come you're spending this type of money and then there's nothing coming in to compensate that, or
Yeah.
to actually not just compensate, to actually go above what you're spending. Because any campaign that you do, or any marketing spend that you do, you need to have a profit margin. So if you're not hitting the sales that would get you the at least at par or over, and bring you to your profit margins, then there's something not right happening. That's one thing. Another thing, if you wait for 6 months, let's say, and you're a small business, and we know that with small businesses, time is really of the essence. If you wait for 6 months, what would be the situation of your market, of your target segment? Probably competitors will be all over them,
Yeah.
and you'd probably lose a lot of market share in that time. So that is another thing. Um, there are other things also that can happen, like for example, your relationship with your supplier. Because if you market a product and you're not selling it, then this relationship with the supplier is going to be at risk here. Um,
Mhm.
all types of risk that can happen here. so so yeah, if you do not assess, so many problems can happen. You can get also internally your team could get frustrated and start looking for other jobs. So that's a fourth thing that can happen.
Yeah. This list is endless. And, I get, many years ago, I was in business with my father, and he was in
Hmm.
the sheet metal business, and I had just uh, got out of the military, and he was closing his business, and his accountant said there is this other business that is making money. It's thriving. It's doing very well, and it was a delicatessen. Okay,
Okay.
this was like a sandwich shop, and it was right across the street from the university that was in our town, Purdue,
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
the, Indiana, the Northwest Indiana campus, right? So it
Sure.
always had traffic coming in, always, 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 always. But we took the business over. We bought the business from this old gentleman. He was retiring, Polish guy, and so when we took it over, we had no idea about marketing.
Hmm.
And the only way that we were able to tell if we had a good day was at the end of the day on the cash register, we would push a few buttons and it would print out the ticket that showed how many sales we had for the entire day, the tally of the
Right.
of the register, right? We had no idea how to calculate what our costs were. We could have done that by looking at all the checks that we wrote and then adding up all the tickets on the register. But that was it. So everything that you're talking about to someone that has a place like that is like such a foreign thing. And there were so many things that we could have done differently. We could have done used the newspaper. We could have advertised in the university newspaper. We could have posted coupons on people's doors. I mean, there was a lot of things that we could have done, but we didn't do that. We just was depending on this cash register thing.
Mm, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So,
yeah.
you know,
There's like you said, there's just so many things that you could have done, and they could have saved the day basically.
right. So by doing an assessment or learning how to do my own assessment, um, how will that affect my business? What are the like three or four major things that will improve with my business or
So
could?
let's look at it. Yeah, from the other side, from the positive side of it. Now, if you are doing a constant assessment, um, then you are probably, or let's say over 90% hitting the right segment, right customer, right time, right message, right. So this is 90% happening. This means that you are getting the sales that you were looking for. If you have a target, excuse me, if you have a target number of sales, that would be, let's say, um, 10 product or 10 sales per month, then you most likely are hitting them. This means that the funds that you are spending on your marketing is rendering its results. So this means that your return on investment is going well. This means that your cost per sale is also going well. This means that the market is reacting to you in a good way. That means that you are also ahead of your competitors. See, so there's so many things. If you're doing the assessment, if you're doing things right, if you're doing the planning right, if you're choosing the right message, if you're doing the right segmenting, all these things, if you're doing them right, then this is just a trickle down effect of
Hmm.
positivity.
Hmm. That makes sense. I think that in the workshop you're going to teach these concepts and go through a real life scenario for people to look at. You know, just learning some of the basic things for someone that has a small business, I think is beneficial because that way it's can be done on a more efficient basis. It can be done more often. Like I was saying with my dad and I, we weren't even aware of things that we should be looking for, and so I think that would be a huge benefit because I would at least have in my mind, okay, I need to be watching for this, 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 and this. you know?
That is why we're doing this workshop, and the main benefit here is just to have people see what they can what benefits they have, or they can get out of doing an assessment, or asking for help, basically. Because a lot of small businesses, and I've seen this time and time again, they either want to do it all themselves, which is fair sometimes, uh, and at the same time they see that their marketing spend um, is not essential, because they'd like to focus on their production. They would like to focus on their sales, and limit their budget, limit their marketing budget very much. However,
Hmm.
it's not quite advisable, even if you're a small business, even if your marketing funds are limited, because at the end of the day you will still do some activity. So, in better off do the right activities rather than doing it the wrong way, or spending it somewhere that you shouldn't be spending it. You know.
Yeah. And how do you define a small business? I mean, is that, like a one, two-person shop, or 1 to 10 or 50 employees? Hard to define.
Well, here in Canada, they talk. Well, there's two ways of looking at it. One of them is number of employees, and one of them is the revenue generated. So, 1 to 50 employees is considered, maybe, or actually maybe 100 also could be. Oh, actually 50. Sorry, could be considered a small business. And in terms of revenue, sometimes they look at it, and in terms of like 10, 15 million a year, somewhere between 10 to 15 million a year, or maybe less than 10 million as well, could be considered a small business.
Interesting.
Mm.
Well, okay, so the workshop is going to be on June 19th,
19.
1 p.m., and we're going to be charging $200 per ticket. If you think about that for a minute, we were discussing this earlier, and when we were coming up with the numbers, like, okay, so your marketing assessment that you do with them is $100, but that's a one-shot thing for 6 months,
That's
which
right.
is really a great deal. It takes a lot of heat off of someone, so they just pay the $100. You go through it, you give them the plan. Now they have to implement that plan. If you,
Yes.
I mean, you may be able to provide services for them, depending. But for $200 for someone that thinks that they can take that on their own, it's kind of like that old thing. You see, teach someone to fish, and then they can fish, right?
Mm.
So
Exactly, and in these days, I think it's people are investing a lot in learning and in learning activities. So it's just, considered as an extra fee that you're paying for getting to know some more information, or getting some in-depth information. These are all, we're talking about business owners here, so I'm pretty sure everybody knows their stuff. But we are just giving some extra information that people are maybe not quite, looking at, and or maybe just ignoring for the time being. So, in terms of learning, yeah, we know that a lot of people are spending a lot in terms of learning. So yeah, consider it as an extra fee that you're paying for, or an extra expense that you're paying for learning something new.
yeah, I was having this thought while you were talking. Sometimes you start talking about these concepts, and they're like way over my head, right? And I thought, if this was a poker game, I would just fold because I'm dealing with people that know what they're doing. Oh,
I
yeah, and
don't
you've
have a
been
poker
teaching
face, do
classes. Yeah, no, no, you're making a bad liar. But but you're also teaching classes, or have been teaching classes at the local college there, right?
Yeah. Yes, I have. I've been doing a number of courses now, for marketing and for business, and it's for international students, and it's been going very well for the last 4 terms now, 3 terms, 3 terms.
Wow,
Mhm.
you're becoming a rock star, man. Up
Well,
on a
trying
stage,
to,
the sage on the
trying
stage. Yeah,
to.
that's great.
Well,
Okay, well, thank you for that. And so then the next time we're going to be here on next Friday, same time, and
Yes.
the topic will be again
Why it's important to revisit your digital marketing strategy.
digital marketing. Yeah, totally,
Yeah.
totally relevant and super important. Okay,
Right.
be well. We'll put the link for the workshop here. It's going to be listed in our Self Achievement Network marketplace. So you'll have the thing click, and when you click on buy, you'll get the ticket, and you'll receive an email to tell you exactly how to join the workshop.
Yep.
Okay, my friend, be well. Thank you all for joining us. Have a
Thank
fun
you all
weekend.
for joining us, and we hope to see you soon.
All right, bye bye for now.